Hello and welcome. I'm Psychic Medium Roberto, and I truly hope you're doing well today. I'm going to be looking at the case of Grant Solomon, and I believe this is a true crime. Excuse me, my empath. My empath has got the better of me at the moment. I just concluded the meditation on the chart here, and all right, so the day that the vehicle and of course Grant were discovered was on the 20th. This is quite a big story. And it's not a very nice one, unfortunately, of course, as we know. But beneath the story is a story about a father who is, I believe, hell-bent on setting a rudder for Mr. young Grant Solomon here. And I would imagine that by all accounts, Grant would want his own path laid out by himself and not directed by his overbearing father, who clearly has issues. Now, the plot thickens though, however, here, because this is not a simple case of, son, I'll meet you on the side of the road for coffee before we go our separate ways on whatever. And also, full disclosure, as I always say, how did this case pop by? On one of my dashboards, this case popped up, I believe it was, let me just check here. Well, it's approaching almost 4 years now, this case, right? And there's a very unique story about a father-son relationship that has ended in this situation. But as I was saying, this was not just the father saying, let's meet on the side of the road situation, not at all. Something similar, but the plot thickens when we start include, come and help me with this disposal situation or situation, that I believe that the father, as well as a crew of 2 men, were present on the scene. Now, what I was saying is, full disclosure, I haven't read deep research into this case, other than this case, for some reason, is not getting solved. And of course, ties in the community. I haven't even looked at that angle yet, but I'm going to tell you the story about the father and the son anyway. Now, I'm going to first start off by saying there are too many suspicious numbers around here to be a simple accident. Grant stops on the side of the road because he needed to fix a tire, whatever the story is, blah, blah, fish cake. And then while he's working on the car, accidentally rolls on him. So a vehicle must roll on him, but the only injury sustained is a knock behind the head. So that's interesting. I mean, there's a telltale sign there already. So on the 20th, we have a massive, now 22, the 20 with an outcome 2, is a massive emotional outburst explosion. Someone is losing their cool, okay? And I would say this was a build-up to this day. I wouldn't say that at a whim a decision was made. No, I believe there was a little bit more than pre-knowledge, pre-planning, certainly premeditated in my opinion, that on the next day, the 21/3, always a bad telltale sign in a crime scene. And we have that 28-10-1. Also, alarm bells in that this is the reason or the cause, or this is what happened, right? So there's an argument. And I believe it's also about the direction, about money, about future. It's about plans. It's about the family. It's about legacy. You know what I mean? And you got the small father shouting up at his his younger son. And, you know, it's about forcing a young soul. And yeah, I can relate to this. This is why I'm getting a little bit uppity. Forcing a young man in a certain particular direction, which clearly goes against Grant's wishes. That's what I believe. That 14-5, reflecting on the day after, so we already have the 21-3, no known number. 28-10, big arguments. And we've got the 14-5 as your little band of brothers on the scene as well. And I can also say, unfortunately, for Mr. Grant, the 14-5 is the story that is relayed or told about the day of the murder. I'll say, the story about the murder on the day, or the accident, sorry, I should say, the accident was a lie. 14-5, big lie. And you know that 22, the following day, 22-4, was all about building the future, building the empire, building for the future, building for the future. Think about the future. You're going to go nowhere. 1 in 10 make it on the baseball team, whatever it is. I keep getting out, now I've just been reminded for the third time because I've been hesitating telling the story. But I'm going to tell the story. There was someone in my life whose brother went through a similar situation. And it didn't end well, unfortunately, where you have the father who is hell-bent on, you will take over the family legacy. You will do what the family has been doing for years. This is where the money is. Nonsense, right? You know, I worked a job for about a year, 2 years, which destroyed my soul. Okay. I worked at Amazon. But I must say, I mean, apart from learning good customer service, but for the soul, you know, just didn't work for me. Not at all. Time, you know, this 10 seconds, 1 minute, lunch 2 minutes, pee 1 minute. You know, that little mice in the system, you know, the sociology 101, how society makes humans work like animals. Anyway, so Mr. Grant did not want that life, like myself in my early days, having been kind of nudged into corporate finance and all that kind of thing, banking, the safe way to go. Whoop, whoop. I wasn't going to cut it for me. But you know what still I can't fathom, and I know there are many crazy people in the world, or people that will just take things to the worst limit, right? That a father would do this to his own son. And being reminded, thank you there, Mr. Grant. Now I'm going back to this picture where you see the vehicle in the road. Why is the father on the scene? Why doesn't the father, and I saw the father, And I saw the two men in that general direction, leaving after the scene. You know how people are focused doing the job, and when they jump in their cars, there's this release of energy which opens up the window, right? That we have the father on the scene for the pure fact reason on the scene to make sure the job is fucking done. Excuse my language. Anyway, the only reason why the father is on the scene is to make sure the two goons, and I'm just picking up something with the goons and him. The only reason why the father's on the scene is to make sure the two goons do the job properly, right? I would say that the two men associated with the father have been working together before. This was not a Craigslist order as you go, but these guys have a long-standing relationship. Now, what's even more disturbing about this whole situation, that the father would do this to his own flesh and blood, his own son. In many ways, or in the main, he feared that his son would be more successful than he was, or he is, however you want to look at it. I believe the father was dealing with lots of insecure issues here. Let me go back to this chart here. Yeah, you see, you got that 14-5 on the play there as well. The day after the 21st, we got a 14-5 outcome. Jesus, you know, these men that have man issues. Wow. His own father. And in this day and age, the 2020, in this day and age, you got parents who are treating kids like rats in a lab, this way or no way. My goodness. I mean, that kind of upbringing was still prominent, let's say, in the 70s, 60s, 70s, even 80s. Well, the 80s was the breakout decade, right? Wow. So some would say living in the Old Testament ways. So unfortunately, I do believe here on the scene, and it is family related with that 2 outcome on that 22. Although it's the mass outburst emotions, it's family connected. And also with the year, the 2020 gives us the 4. All about male energy, male energy. And you know, a father that doesn't even appreciate his own son. Yeah, not very nice. All right, so I'm going to leave it at that. Wow. Fathers. All right, let me know what your thoughts are, and please hit that subscribe button, And I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe and stay alert.